Hi everyone, today is October 6th and welcome to day 6 of Vlogoween. It's almost 3 p.m. right now and I have about probably like an hour and a half of work left. Just like yesterday, there's just a lot to do, so I'm trying to make sure that I take regular breaks of physical movement and exercise, so that's helping a lot, maintaining my mind and my body so that I'm not just calcifying into this like statue in front of my computer. Today I want to talk a little bit about why teaching is like specifically stressful this year. I don't know anyone who's like, teaching is not stressful. Like, everyone finds teaching stressful, but it's stressful in a different way, and I think it hits differently. I don't really know how else to describe it. I'm used to handling stress with my job in some ways, but when the stressors change, I have to like rethink basically, like, how do I manage all this new stress that's coming around? Now, I'm gonna speak on behalf of my entire country right now, so keep that in mind. Take it for what it's worth. But I think part of the reason that teaching during coronavirus in the United States is especially hard right now is because there isn't really a national plan for how to deal with coronavirus, and that is replicated in all of our systems. Each state and each district, and in some cases each school, has to kind of decide on their own, like, what are we going to do? What are we allowed to do? What is safe to do? And that puts a lot of the burden of like creating all of these systems on us and teachers. And that might seem like that's not happening, that like districts are putting out these guidelines, and they are, but districts are just putting out guidelines. They're not necessarily creating systems. So my district can tell me that like these are all the things that should happen, but it's up to me and my colleagues to basically figure out how do we make that happen. It's not just like learning how to use new technology, although that is a part of it that's stressful for some of our teachers. It also really is just figuring out like, how do we like do learning on the internet? Another reason that it was really stressful was that because there wasn't a unified plan, basically districts made decisions on whether they would be going full remote or if they would be delaying the start of the school year, like in August or September in some cases. I am fortunate to live in a district that decided to be completely remote for at least like the foreseeable future. And we're listening to scientists, and the guidelines are scientifically sound. No one is coming into school buildings. We have precautions and stuff in place. And I know that's not true for all places in the US. In some places, people are just back in school like it's normal. Some places decided to delay the start of the school year and then go back, even though they shouldn't have. And now they're like, well, we have to shut down again. So now we have to figure out how to do school on the internet. Like me and my colleagues did. So it seems kind of like this unavoidable question of trying to figure out what we can actually get done this year, what we can actually help students learn this year, on top of the stress that students and families are experiencing because we're in the middle of a pandemic. Like, no one's okay right now. I can give you some examples of what I have encountered with that just in this past week. My district decided probably like a week before we were supposed to come back to school that we have to go full remote. Personally, I think that's a decision they could have made earlier in the summer, but I'm not there at those board meetings. I don't know what all the different factors are. We're going full remote. Everyone is going to be given a laptop so they can do their schoolwork at home. So the district created these guidelines that all the classes will be online, students will have access to technology, period. Who is going to get the technology to students? How do we figure out which students have laptops or don't have laptops? How do we figure out which students have internet or don't have internet? These are all things that like teachers are figuring out as we're contacting students and as we're being given information for who's enrolling at our school and who's not enrolling at our school. It's a very intense process. Like, it takes a long time to check in with every family and see what their needs are so we can help them with the things that they need right now. And the district this week has rolled out a survey to answer the questions that we have been working so hard to gather of like, how is distance learning going for you? Do you have all these things? How are you feeling in general? So I have a training on Thursday to be trained on how to do the survey at my school, but I don't even know if the survey is necessary because we kind of already had to gather that information. but I know the district doesn't have that information and they should. But I also work at a school that's multilingual, so if the survey's only in English, everyone's not going to be able to take it. Another example of that is I'm on my school's building leadership team, and part of our responsibility is to create our professional development calendar for the course of the year. We closed schools down in March, so we kind of anticipated that we would need to figure out a way to do distance learning for teachers on how to learn how to be better teachers. We were told by the district to plan on some sort of hybrid model, which we were like, that's probably not going to happen because we have no plan for the coronavirus. So we couldn't really plan anything because we didn't know what the parameters would be. So now we're a month into school and we still don't have like a date by date, like on this day we're going to learn about this, on this day we're going to learn about this as teachers. So we have to build that out now. But in order to do that, like, responsibly, we need to get feedback from students and staff to know what we should prioritize. And it's something that we couldn't have done any earlier than now because we didn't even know what the conditions would be, essentially. So we could have made this like really great plan, but then we would have to throw it in the trash because something has changed now. This week, my colleagues and I, that was a meeting that I just got out of, we need to figure out how to do 2 surveys. One survey that the district wants us to do where they want to know how students and families are doing with distance learning so they can have any idea how things are going. And the other survey is for students and families and teachers so that we can figure out what we should prioritize this year, which is a less mandatory one, I guess. Everyone doesn't have to give input on that, but it would be nice if everyone had a say in like what their teachers were prioritizing this year. I think that's a good thing. I think that a lot of people are thinking that this is a great time to like reinvent education and reinvent all these systems that we have. And I think that they forget like how stressful it is to be in a pandemic. And for people who feel anxious at times, like I do, like not having a routine can be something that really throws you off and is something that creates just this like tension in you. I find that I'm like clenching my jaw a lot throughout the day. I've been reflecting today on the importance of being flexible and how that's a thing that, you know, every teacher has to learn. Like you have to be flexible in your day-to-day because maybe your projector doesn't work one day, or maybe the copier is broken, or like there's, you know, all these factors, or like half of the students are gone on a field trip or something. So the act of practicing flexibility isn't new to me and isn't new to other teachers. There's no point in me being frustrated that things are moving slowly because there's so much of it that's out of my control. So it's been a very humbling and important act in being flexible. As far as my plans for today, I am gonna finish up my work and then I'm going to meet up with 2 of my friends at a different park than last week. And man, what else do I want to do today? I don't know. I'm gonna take it a minute at a time because I am flexible.